At the request of the Arkansas Waterways Commission and the state of Arkansas, and under authority of Section 216 of the Flood Control Act of 1970, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is conducting the Three Rivers Southeast Arkansas Feasibility Study, or better known as the Three Rivers Study. The study is to recommend modifications to the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River Navigation System, or MCARNS, that will ensure the long-term sustainability of reliable navigation on the system. Specifically, the Three Rivers study is focused on 208 square miles, where the White, Arkansas, and Mississippi rivers all meet in southeast Arkansas. This area is known to be extremely dynamic, especially during high water events. Approximately 64 square miles of the study area is owned and operated by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Other landowners in the area include the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, the Corps, Anderson-Tully Lumber Company, and several private hunting clubs. The term study area is the area large enough to capture potential indirect and long-term environmental impacts of alternative implementation, particularly impacts that may occur further upstream or downstream of the immediate project footprint due to changes in hydrology. The term project area is a much smaller area and consists of the isthmus between the Arkansas and White Rivers. This is the area most likely to experience a breach or a cutoff forming between the two rivers.
My name is Gene Higginbotham. I'm the former executive director of the Arkansas Waterways Commission. I could just see the potential of the river shutting down for over a year. When you looked historically back to about 2000, you could see changes in the way the White River was flooding in conjunction with the way the Arkansas was. And I could see the potential to lose the navigation channel. It's about $1.5 billion worth of economic development just for the state, about 11 million tons of freight moving up and down the system. That particular area is the access point to the Mississippi. So if you have a failure there, you lose a navigation channel, and basically no freight moves from the Mississippi up to any Arkansas ports or Oklahoma ports.
The risk of a cutoff forming is caused by water elevation differences, or head differentials, that occur when one or both of the White or Arkansas rivers are above their bank during a high water event. When one or both rivers are out of bank, floodwaters flow overland, cross the isthmus along several paths of least resistance. As floodwaters move overland, the ground surface erodes as the head cutting process takes place. Eventually, a new water course, or cutoff, would form, redirecting part or all of one river's flow to the other river, particularly if an existing head-cut containment structure failed or breached during a high water event. To prevent formation of a cutoff, the Corps has constructed a multi-component soil cement system over the course of many years. This soil cement system consists of three primary structures. First, the historic cutoff closure structure. Second, the Melinda structure. And third, a linear soil cement dike structure running east to west across the isthmus along the south side of the White River, including the Owens Lake structure. By 1989, the Corps has spent about $23 million on these and other containment structures in the project area, averaging $522,000 per year. In the absence of the Three Rivers project, operations, maintenance, repair, replacement, and rehabilitation costs for existing containment structures will be significant and continue on, and the Corps will have to build similar small-scale ad hoc structures in other areas where head cuts are migrating and forming. If a cutoff formed, navigation through the project area would cease for extended periods until the Corps could mobilize a contingency plan and repair or close the cutoff, which would take, at minimum, 6 months. During the closure, most shippers would have to find alternative overland routes at much higher costs. In addition, sediment deposition would increase dredging requirements, and an estimated 200 acres of bottomland hardwood forest in the path of a cutoff would be destroyed as land converted to open water. The recommended Three Rivers project consists of 4 construction components: a new containment structure at an elevation of 157 feet, a relief channel through the historic cutoff, removal of the existing Melinda structure, and opening the Owens Lake structure between Owens Lake and the White River. The new containment structure would be approximately 2.5 miles long, beginning on natural high ground south and west of the Melinda structure. Taking advantage of natural high ground, the structure would only rise 5 to 7 feet above the ground in most locations and would be no more than 12 feet above the ground at its highest point. Opening the historic cutoff would reduce maximum head differentials, allowing the Corps to better control the location of future overtopping events and would decrease erosion across the isthmus. Removing the Melinda structure would reconnect Owens Lake to its former southern limb, thereby returning open water ecosystem functions to the oxbow portion of the flooded bottomland hardwood forest. Finally, opening the Owens Lake structure between Owens Lake and the White River would prevent water from backing up into Owens Lake. The opening's design would also provide a fish passage into Owens Lake. Implementation of the Three River project would not alter hydrology in surrounding bottomland hardwood forests, and most importantly, navigation would continue with no operational changes to the MCARNs. Cumulative impacts for all resources have been determined to be less than significant or non-existent. Significant resource agency coordination occurred throughout the Three Rivers study, leading to all resource agencies supporting the Three Rivers project. The Corps intends to submit a Chief's report summarizing the Three Rivers project to Congress for project implementation, authorization, and appropriation at the conclusion of the feasibility phase.